Welcome to Secondhand Speed. We're back at it with the MR2 now. Last time I showed you, we were able to take out the fuel tank. But the problem with the fuel tank is it's super rusty. Very, very dirty in the inside. Like it's very dusty. It's very disgusting in the inside. And look at our wonderful fuel pump. Exactly, look at that. Our wonderful fuel pump, fuel line, fuel level, whatever you want to call it. Look at it. It's disgusting. I found a used one on eBay for $200 and I did not buy it because I thought that was ridiculous. And this is my old one. I'm going to see if I can even restore that, because I'm trying to locate any aftermarket parts. So if you guys know any aftermarket or anything for the MR2 2.0 liter turbocharged, let me know, because that is disgusting. Look, it doesn't even have the filter anymore. Look, this is where the gasoline is fed to the engine, or fed to the car. I broke the tip of it. Here's the other end of this fuel line. I was able to get it out. So this nut is supposed to retract, but it broke. So that's great. It broke, and this is where it goes. I'm gonna try to sand this and use phosphoric acid to clean and transform the acid into something, to neutralize the acid, and then we're gonna paint it. Luckily, right, from Toyota, genuine parts, I was able to find a brand new, look at that, fuel pump mounting with the fuel lines and everything. So see, originally in the old one, this is the one that comes off, right? Like, this is what's threaded into this end right here. I only paid like $80 something for this with shipping from Toyota. Like I said, genuine parts. Luckily, I was able to go on eBay and I bought the last MR2 tank they had up there. The tank cost me $250, but with shipping was $112. So I spent about $360, $370 for this tank. This one is a lot cleaner. It's much better. So I'm gonna use something. I'm gonna clean it. I think I might use the phosphoric acid to clean out the surface rust that it has. I don't know if I'm gonna coat it. I've heard good stuff and bad stuff about lighting it in the inside. So it's a lot cleaner, I'll tell you that. Much cleaner. Definitely a lot better. I'm gonna have to find new hoses for these things because these are bad. They're all hard, rock hard, obviously. I'm gonna keep this tank. I'm gonna see if I can restore it. I'm not gonna throw it away, obviously, because these things are getting hard to find. Same with these things. I'm gonna have to reuse that. If hopefully I find a new one. I'm gonna also need to look for new bolts because these ones are disgusting. I broke a couple of them just trying to get them out. Luckily, I don't know. This kind of devastated me when I first had these. When I had this issue, they broke. So I'm sourcing out grade number 9 bolts, which will be hard. I don't know how to locate or find the right bolt size for these things. These are just the drain plug. What had happened was that when I went to empty out the tank, I had lost the bolt, the drain plug bolt. I lost it, and well, I couldn't find it. And I was trying to look for a replacement one, which I did. I found one. Here's the parts number if you're ever looking for one. I bought it. I was lucky enough to find one brand new from Toyota. Well, it was on eBay, you know what I mean, but it was genuine parts. But then my dad found this on the ground, so I'm glad that he did. I think the new tank has one. If it doesn't, I don't really care because you just saw we have the brand new one. We got the new fuel pump. We got to rust-proof all these other things in there too, and get new hoses and stuff like that for the gas bracket. But yep, that's the work that we're gonna do. So this is the fuel assembly for the MR2. I believe everybody has a common problem with these things, that they eventually go out. You have this metal covering over it. Now, you saw how badly it was. I cleaned it off a bit, but you could bend these metal tabs right here, like bend them away. There's like 3 of them, 1, 2, and then 3 up here. If you bend them, you can work your way to get it off. Inside of here, literally, it's just this little wire that is wrapped around like this plastic bracket. And when your float is like this, right, when it's full tank, obviously it'll float its way this way. And then when it goes low, it'll lower itself like this, obviously. It sends a signal to, like, it makes some sort of contact right here, and it just sends that signal through the cable, and that's what you read at your fuel gauge. I wonder if that may be the cause, that if anyone is having issue. Maybe you could like rebend this or have a better connection here. I was able to source one out. These are super hard to find. They're not very common. It cost me about $135. It's the same exact one. I don't think it's new, but it's in really good condition, it seems from the pictures. It's coming from UK. I have the new fuel filter. This is the original one that came from the car. This is the old one, so it's like this pretty much. It flows, gasoline flows in from here, and it goes from this other end. Comes with 4 washers, 2 on this end and 2 on this other end. This fitting right here is gonna essentially nut right into this right here. So pretty much it's gonna go like this. I'm hoping that this line doesn't have any pinholes or whatsoever, because I believe it's plastic, nylon or some sort of thing. See, this just has some sort of rubber protector, and if you see underneath it, it has like the plastic lining. So all this here is all metal. So what I'm hoping is that this doesn't have any pinholes under pressure. I'm gonna sand it and paint it, prime it and paint it, so that way it doesn't rust any further. Apparently a lot of people say these rust, and obviously it does because of the fact how it's, where it's located. It's literally like right underneath the car. Like it's really exposed right there. So if you live in a salt belt area, this is gonna really rust badly. Don't lose these bolts either. These bolts are super important. I don't know how. I saw one on eBay, but they're like 40 bucks for these, so do not lose these. I would not lose these. These are important anyway to begin with. You're essentially gonna install this right here, like this, and then this is gonna go on the back end of your fuel filter washer between the nut and this fitting, and then a washer between the filter and the fitting itself. So, and then the same process is on top of the car. So when you buy this pump, like this is I'm putting in the original pump, as you already know. I'm putting the stock pump. I'm not doing an upgrade for the meantime. I'm just gonna run it stock. That's my main goal, is just to have this car up and running stock for now. So what's happening, right? When you get this in the kit, it does not come with these 2 nuts up here for these connectors. They expect you to use the old ones, which would be fine if this wasn't bad. As you guys already know that this one is in terrible condition. I had to literally cut the thing off of there in order to free it. And yeah, these nuts, I'm not reusing them. And if they're oddballs, like they're odd shape, like they're odd measurements, here's the part number if you want the OEM one, which not a lot of people do it anyway, but that's the part number. So these have different measurements, as you can see. This one's the negative and this is the positive. They have different sizes. So they have a different size nut, and they come in metric measurements. So I'll post the numbers up here so you can see, in case if you're doing this yourself or whatever. This rubber is very hard to install in the neck. You know what I mean? Like, it's very hard. And so what I had to do, I literally put it a little bit in the snow right here. I just literally had it sitting there, just resting. I wrapped this in newspaper, and I just literally let it sat there in the snow for a little bit, because apparently the cold helps rubber to expand, and it did work. Now I can actually clamp it and do all of that, because as before it was just up here and halfway, and now it's all the way to the bottom base. So that's a trick that you can do. Luckily I have some snow out here. I didn't have to put it in the refrigerator or anything like that, so I just let it sit in the snow. So that's a tip if you want rubber fittings to fit. And this is the OEM Denso that was in the car. There you go. Denso, that's the part number for this. I failed to realize that this has a rubber bushing. As you can see, this is the brand new one that I bought OEM from Toyota, the dealership, but it doesn't have the rubber. It did not come included. So it needs a rubber base right here in order to sit the fuel pump. So the fuel pump sits right on here like this. It sits on it, and well, I'm not gonna reuse this. Just look how disgusting that is, and I don't even think it's worth even saving. I was able to find one OEM from Toyota. It cost me like $32 with shipping. So that's on its way. So I have to put this on pause for the meantime. I can't really do anything else. I can't even in advance. Literally all I have to do left Now from what I see is I just have to install the little filter that goes on the bottom. I just have to install that part. I gotta put it right on here. It's not that difficult. I'll show you once, you know, I get the rubber piece and I can assemble all of it. It'll go in like that, and then it has a little metal clip right here that is like super duper important. It's that little piece right in between that little clamp. Yep, that little tiny thing right there. Little metal piece will just, that little metal ring will just sit there clamping this down. Because you can see here from the old one, it has it right there. You see it? Has that little metal ring around it. Pretty much here's the bolt measurements. They're all in metric. I did the homework pretty much. So these are the bolts that it uses underneath there for the handbrake. It uses this M8 1.25 20 millimeter. So I did the homework. Here it is. Pretty much this is all the bolts that I need for the MR2. So for like the brackets and all that stuff, I was able to find these. You know, they come in a bag in Lowe's. So you can literally buy these with the washer and all that. So I got new bolts. The ones that I had to order online because I wasn't able to find them are these. They're the M6 1.0 12 millimeter. Those are the ones that I desperately need because those are the ones that I literally broke the most. And there's like tons of them. I have like 15 of these things broken. As you can see, they're bad. And they're 10.9 grade, so they're high grade. It's a very good grade of bolt. You can see at 10.9, which is a very high grade, high enough for tension. I cleaned up these. These are for the fuel filters. I cleaned those up. I'm gonna have to clean this in acid to help its elasticity, or maybe I could find another one. So here's my way of testing the fuel pump. This is brand new. Obviously, it's going to work. I have it hooked up temporarily, and it's latched onto the connection, that gray connector there. I currently have my V8 Durango passing charge to the battery because it's dead. And so this is my way of knowing if the fuses and all that. I mean, I could check it and all, but I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna, you know, push my foot on the clutch for the security switch or whatever. I'm gonna try to turn the keys as best as I can, one-handed. You heard it. It tries to. So the fuel pump does kick on. So that's a good news. So it definitely works, not a problem. That way I know for sure that that it's getting power, it's getting current, so that way when we assemble all of this together, it'll work. Now I did try to see if this will do anything. Like I mentioned, I wanted to test my theory out, and no, it doesn't. Up here on the fuel gauge, it has nothing. I don't know, it doesn't matter how much I move it. If I move it to the middle or whatever, it doesn't register anything. This doesn't seem to register anything. That's the old one. That was the crusty old one that I had in there. This is the quote-unquote new that I ordered. For all of you guys that are wondering, the radio and all the electronics work in this car. It's really, they do work. I'm letting you know that now. The fan, I don't think it works, so there won't be any blower motor fan or anything. I'll have to fix that. I don't know if it'll even turn on if the car isn't on, but it doesn't turn on. As you can see, I can crank it and nothing. At least to the froster, but none of it. The pop-up headlights fully work, which is amazing because that's like my favorite thing of this car too. It's cool. And yes, all the electronics and all that do seem to work, even the windows. Uh-oh. Yeah, oh yeah, I thought it was stuck for a second. Yeah, they work. So I'm gonna have to, I'm just afraid of lowering it all the way down. But yeah, they do seem to work. Y también las luces funcionan. No solo de eso, pero funciona. El estéreo, como lo vieron, y también las luces levantan y bajan. Los switches igual. Todos trabajan, y hasta el espejo o el vidrio, perdón. Sí, todo de este carro funciona. Aunque tiene este millaje, Pero todo el aparato electrónico funciona. Menos el aire. No sé si el aire va a arrancar. De eso sí yo no tengo idea. El abanico no da nada. No sé si de por sí arranca sin que el carro esté completamente arrancado. Eso sí yo no tengo idea. Pero no da. Lo tengo que arreglar. Más el calentón o el... Pues aquí para el vidrio manejador, el chofer. Porque eso es algo que me gustaría saber. Porque pues si voy a manejar este carro, aunque sea calor, no importa. Pero me gustaría que no se me vaya a empeñar los vidrios. This means full. We'll move it right there. Now watch the float. But as you notice, the light is starting to illuminate that it's empty, which is normal. Slowly, 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 slowly rising. But it does work. So this thing has to feel gasoline, or not, it'll mark it empty, or that empty light will turn on. It's slowly moving, but it does work. I mean, this proves that it does work. So I'm happy with that. This is the new float, so I'm just sanding to get some of this corrosion off. So here's the aftermath. I cleaned it as best as I can. I have some small spots again. I'm gonna hit it with the phosphoric acid, so I'm not too worried. I don't know if this will flash rust. Who knows? But I cleaned it. It looks a lot better than before. Prepared and ready. I took off the gasket. This is the old one, and I'm gonna reuse it unless I can buy another one. But you know, the gasket doesn't look too bad. I've heard that there's some stuff that you can put on the gasket, or like rubber stuff, so that way it can like regain its form and its durability and flexibility. But we'll see. It doesn't look too beat up. I've seen ones way worse. So this, I'm going to try to see if I can clean it and remove it out of this neck thing. I don't even know if I can reuse this, but if I can find a replacement one much better, I'm just going to try to clean it. This, I'm going to try to sand along with the fuel lines. With just one fuel line, that's the feed line or whatever. This part as well, this is one of the brackets underneath the tank. And especially this is another one. It's really rusty and all, it's really bad. So I'm going to try to sand it. I'm going to clean this little rubber inlet. I got my little brush there. I'm doing this in the bathroom because, you know, I don't have any space to do it in my room. I'm going to use this to wire it down. I got a little Black & Decker drill, some pliers. I got a paintbrush to apply acid. See, I don't know if I want to do that, but I'm going to give it a try. I have the acid in here. So I have it right here in my bathtub actually. So I'm going to put a little bit, not a lot. That's why I have the thing on, so that way no fumes can come in here. And then I'm going to close the door so that way no one can come in here while that happens. But yeah, let's give this a shot. So I was able to successfully remove the fuel filler neck from the thing itself. So it was quite a challenge to take it out, but you know, I had the idea of using WD-40 and I wasn't sure if it was going to harm the rubber, but apparently it's good to use it on rubber, especially on fuel lines and stuff like that. So you know, it didn't cause any harm. So I used WD-40, soaked it in there, and it helped it loosen it, wiggle it out more, and I was able to get it out. So that is very, yeah, it's deep in there. I mean, it's this much that it goes in, so it's pretty deep in. I was able to clean it out. I thought this was broken or something, but it's not. It's actually pretty good. It's not as flexible. Obviously, it's hard as rock. You can barely move it. In the center, it's hard as a rock. I can't move it, but on the edges, it's pretty fine. All these parts, I just sanded them and I put acid on them. So this was a couple of minutes ago that I just now came in from the outside. So I'll give you the results on how it turns out. That one I sanded out really well. That's the fuel tank bracket, that one that looks all white right now. Those little hardware pieces, I also put acid on them. That's like for the evap system, that long hose right there. And then that is the fuel line. I discovered that you can buy a brand new hose line, though it's like 150 or whatever. So worst case scenario, if this busts, then I can just buy a new one or make it myself. But yeah, I have it in here in the bathroom, venting.